Espanol, which is very happy and heavenly. So we have her here. So I hope you all are fine, and I'm going to get a healer for each one of you that will be with you for the evening. Just hold on a moment, please, while I get them. Okay, you all have your own individual healer who has stepped up to be with you for the evening and give you healing for the evening. And if you have anyone you would like to send healing to, just hold their name in your mind and ask your healer. And you don't have to know the name of your healer. Just ask him to send healing to the people that you want to send healing to. And he will take care of that at the same time he is healing you. All our healers are very adept. They can be in two places at once, just about. And so now I am going to get Rankar for you. And I will be back at the end of the night to say goodnight to you all. But for right now, I'll just say goodbye. Talk to you later. Good evening. It is I, Rankar. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. And I would like to begin the evening by continuing our talk about love. What is the most important aspect of love? What do you think is the most important aspect of love? Well, for the most part, I think most of you would answer that there is something about the individual that you love that you find is special and perfect. Perhaps you think they are perfect in every way, which is usually what makes you fall in love with someone, because you see the good in them. And hopefully, since you love them, and if you wish them to love you back, they also see the good in you. And so it is kind of a mutual admiration society of two people. Now, of course, there is family love, and that will increase to expand to all the members of the family, or sometimes in some families, not so much everyone, but other members of your family. And what are you seeking and hoping for these individuals? Well, you love them, so you seek what is best for themselves. You want them to be happy. You want them to be healthy. You want them to have all the good things in life. You wish them success. And you wish for their well-being and good health. This is what love is. It's a nurturing atmosphere. And that is why love is the energy of creation, as we spoke about in the first meeting when I said we would be spending our time speaking of love. When you love something, you want it to grow. You want it to prosper. You want it to be the best that it can be. And it doesn't matter whether this is an idea you have that you love or whether it is a person that you love. You want the best. You want to manifest the best about this object of your love. And so it is with people. You have discovered someone special that you think is perfect in every way. Well, if they're not perfect, at least they're very good, and they have several traits or aspects of themselves that you are particularly attracted to, that you find fascinating, alluring, and you want to spend your time with them. For that is often how love manifests itself, as a deep yearning to be with the other person. But just to go over some of the other aspects of the flip side of love, so to speak. How is it that you can destroy love? Destroy love for yourself, destroy love of other people, and destroy your relationships. And there is one very simple thing. Become critical of the person that you love. Point out their faults. Get yourself unhappy over various aspects of their personality. It doesn't matter what it is that you decide that you will find this annoying. In the beginning, you don't notice and you don't mind it. And so you just love everything about the person. But over time, you begin to find little annoying traits that um, you begin to think about and you dwell on. And perhaps you begin to ask that person to change, to stop doing something, to be different than they are. And the next thing that happens is usually that the love begins to decline. For being critical of another person and not supporting them in the people that they are is, is the aspect of not loving someone. When you do not love someone, you see all their bad points and you see no good point to be attracted to. A perfect example would be your current president of Mr. Trump. Many people find many of his behaviors to be extremely irritating and annoying to the point where they intensely dislike the man. But then there are other people who see these same things and they say, well, this is not important to me. And I like all these other things about himself, and they can be said to love Mr. Trump. Perhaps they just love him as a president. They may not like him as an individual, but they love what he has done for them. See, they are looking at the good points. They are appreciating what they find as being important. Other people, they are seeing irritating things. They do not see too many good points. And so they do not feel that way about Mr. Trump. It is that simple. What you choose to look at and what you choose to dwell upon will determine the amount of love you have for other people. Now, sometimes it is very trying to maintain a loving relationship with people that you are somewhat obliged to love, like your family members. You may find your sister or your brother or one of your parents to be extremely obnoxious. They are always telling you what to do. They do not seem to appreciate you. They are saying that you should do things differently all the time. They don't seem to support you in any way. See, these are all criticisms. They make you feel terrible. And so you cannot love them. You find it very difficult to love them. But yet they are a family member, and you perhaps have been taught that you should love your family members. They should be special to you. And it would be nice if they were special to you. However, it is not always possible to love every person that comes along. You simply cannot see the good in them for whatever reason. And it would be nice if you could see the good in everyone and always focus in the good on everyone and so love everyone equally. But this is not possible. You are in human form. You have to make judgments about your life. You have to think about what's good for you. And so being the object of criticism by one person or another always is not good for you because it diminishes your self-esteem. It diminishes your ability to be the best that you can be. You want people to encourage you. You want people to appreciate the things that you do, that you have perhaps extended extra energy to them. And so you are craving love and you are acting in a loving way, but sometimes people do not receive your love. And sometimes people are damaged in themselves, inasmuch as they were not given much love as a child. They never learned to love themselves. Now, you may not think this is an issue. They should still see the love that you are extending to them. But the problem with people who do not love themselves is that they cannot accept your love. They cannot keep your love because they know that they are not lovable. That is what they believe. I am not lovable. I do not like myself. My message in growing up was always that I was stupid, or I always did bad things. And I received that message and heard it so much that I just know that I am not worthy of being loved by other people. And so these people who are damaged in this way often act um, in ways that put off and keep at a distance people who wish to love them and give them good things because they do not love themselves. So it is very difficult for them to accept your love, let alone return your love. And perhaps they will always be obnoxious. And maybe they will always say nasty things to you. But it is because they themselves are damaged and they cannot accept love and they cannot give love. They do not know how to do that. And so to love them is to only accept them as they are. Now, you do not have to keep them in your life. You do not have to see a great deal of them. But when you are with them, it is mostly imperative that you accept them as they are and don't take offense for yourself. Do not get upset or angry or annoyed at these people because that is disturbing to you. And hopefully, you love yourself enough to understand that not everyone will always be kind and wonderful in every moment. And you can be strong enough to accept their bad moments along with their good moments. Forgive them for their bad moments and accept their good moments. Yes, love is a very important thing in our lives, in your lives, in everyone's lives. But it is important to, when you are loving other people, to accept them as they are. Now, when you are raising your children, it is important for you also to instruct these children in the best ways of behavior. And that is sometimes not easy to do without being critical. But it is necessary as a parent that you are raising this child to be an adult. So, an expression I have heard is that you don't raise children, you raise adults. So, you are raising a little adult right now in your life. And this little adult has misbehaved or done something which is not helpful or good for themselves or for others. Perhaps for their own playmates, is destructive to their own playmates. And it is important for you to correct them. And it is difficult not to say something like, you are bad. What you did was bad. It is important for you to let them know that what they did was bad, but they are not bad. And they can behave better. And explain to them why they must act in different ways and not be acting in ways that hurt people. Because for their own good and their own advancement in life, it is better to get along with people and be nice to people, other people in your life. For this will bring you the greatest amount of love and will probably bring you the greatest amount of success in some ways or other ways. You will benefit from by being a loving individual. And so my talk in this evening is just to remind you that criticism is not a loving thing. You cannot instruct your fellow adults in the ways they should behave. You can talk about yourself. You could say something like, I always find it is helpful for me when I am in your situation that I act in this way. I find that this solves the problems much faster than fighting with someone or whatever it happens to be. You have to find a way to be diplomatic. And just to bring about another aspect, since it is important that you love yourself, if you should find yourself in a relationship which is destructive to your own peace of mind and your own sense of self, it is really important for you to love yourself enough to begin to distance yourself from that relationship. Don't see that person very much. Do not talk to them a lot. If you need to talk to them, then keep it brief and do not spend extra time with them. Do not give them the opportunity to make you feel bad. Just do what you need to do with them and wish them well in their life. For that often is all that you will need to repair a relationship with someone who is difficult. To wish them well. Hope that their life improves, because when their life improves, they will be more likely to be benign, friendly, helpful to others. And so that is my talk for this evening. If you have any questions you would like to ask on the subject of love, please feel free to bring them up. And if not, I will entertain any question you would like an answer to. So please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I haven't had an opportunity to visit with you in about 5 years, so I am really thankful for this evening. And I have a question concerning 2 photographs. One, I totally understand. It's my dad, who was a gay man, and my mom on their cover marriage day. The other picture is what we don't understand in the family, and it is why I raise this question tonight. In the picture is my dad and his lover, my Uncle Harry, my godfather, Uncle Harry being fictive kin, and it's the other men in the picture. We have no understanding who they are in the family, and this is the question I bring to you tonight. If you can help us with this, and I thank you.
Well, I am not sure that I can be helpful with this picture, for it is probably it will be difficult for me to see this picture. And let me go over the details of the picture. You say there is a picture of your father and his lover?
Yes, my Uncle
And
Harry and my dad.
who was your uncle?
Fictive kin uncle, not true blood uncle.
Yes, so I understand. An honorary uncle that is often given to a person that is close to the family.
Correct.
And so your mother was aware of this relationship that your father had.
Oh, very much so. It was a cover marriage for her too. My dad is not my biological father.
I see. A complicated family relationship.
Yes.
So therefore, now I am getting the picture of the relationships. And so it was your father, your uncle, and you. Yes, you?
I'm not in the picture.
Oh, you're not in the picture. And was your mother in the picture?
No, she's in a previous one in the exact same location with my dad and my Uncle Harry. These have been taken minutes apart.
Yes, and there are some other men in the picture.
Yeah, there are
And
3
you
other
cannot
men.
identify the other men, and that is what you are curious about.
Right. 2, one is, I would say, in his 50s, one in his 30s, and a teenage boy.
It seems to me that the other men in the picture were simply friends of perhaps your uncle and your father. For males who are attracted to males, of course, have very many male friends. And that is what you are seeing. Obviously, the teenager must be the child of one of the other men who is there at the time. So I would say that the picture must have been taken at a gathering in
Correct.
which there were quite a number of people, all being friends with one another. There could have even been a special purpose to the gathering, such as a wedding. And these were all friends of the couple. If it is not a wedding, it was just a gathering, and they simply are friends. And I do not see why you should be puzzled at a picture in which, simply because you did not know these individuals. But this perhaps is more from the uncle's side, your father's lover's side, than it was with the rest of the family, your family.
That helps because these pictures, I come along later. I'm 10 years younger than the first child of this cover marriage. And they disappeared in the family memory bank. And this picture just reappeared very, very recently. And the family is puzzled, is why I'm bringing it to you tonight as to why we're on the back of the picture. It says Uncle Jack, Uncle Joe, and Artie being the young boy. And we're like, we didn't have an Uncle Jack and Uncle Joe. Who are these?
Well, I believe they were your uncle lover, your father's lover's friends or family members. That
Okay, that helps enormously. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is David.
Hi, David. Yes.
Okay. I had questions about my mother who passed away a few years ago, and I just want to know, like, if I don't even know how to even ask you this question. I want to know how my mother feels right now, and if she still thinks about me, and if she still visits me in my dreams or whatnot.
So you are curious about the relationship that you had with your mother, and may I have your mother's name?
Lisa.
Lisa. All right, and one moment, please. Or we'll take a moment to find out the situation that you are perhaps asking me about without too much detail. Hold on.
Well, if you need any more details.
No, she's.
Usually Juana would answer these questions, but I will endeavor to do so in a way similar to which Juana would do. So I believe I have your mother here. And she is telling me that when she was alive, she was often critical
Everything.
about you. And as a please avoid talking while I am speaking.
I know, I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
No, go on. Keep talking. I want to hear.
She was critical of you. And this left you, she believes, with the impression that she did not love you as much as she loved others. And she is apologizing for, she said she did not know any other way to try to make you good, but that is not exactly what she means. She means she didn't know any way to guide you to be a better individual in her eyes, but now she realizes that everyone has their own pathway to walk, and that you had to walk your pathway in your way. And you would have been better if she had not tried to, she says, dominate you and make you be the way she thought you should be. And so she asks your forgiveness for um, not accepting you as you are. Does she love you? The answer to that question is yes, she loves you.
I know she will.
Does she try to communicate with you? The answer.
Yeah.
I haven't in a while. I used to have dreams about her. She used to visit me in my dreams, but it's been a long time, and I haven't seen her in my dreams anymore.
Yes, and she says she has not.
In my dream.
She has not been with you in this way, or you do not need to have her in your dreams. She says that you are fine, and but you should know that she loves you still.
I do know that. I know my mother loves me. I haven't gotten visited from her in a while. I just want to know how she was doing, actually.
Oh, well, she is fine. Once you enter into spirit life, it is very, it is perfect. You are
So
happy.
she's doing fine.
She is doing fine. And actually, I believe she is considering another incarnation at this point in time.
What is her
What is she going to be incarnated to?
I'm sorry, I could not understand you.
I'm sorry. I
I'm
believe
saying
that,
that, like,
and
what is she going to be incarnated to? What does she want to be incarnated
This
to?
has not been
Probably
decided.
a lion.
This has not been decided. She is looking into the question at this time, which has been
Oh,
introducing her.
I actually came to your house before a couple years ago with Louise.
It was a good many years ago,
Yeah.
into the house of
And I
the-
forgot that you were the one that was actually doing this. You made me cry when I saw you. I was so happy, actually. I miss Karen and everyone from the church. I need to start going back.
So, are there any other questions anyone has of me? Thank you.
Is there any messages you can give me from my father's mother?
From your father's mother, your grandmother. Would you give me her name? This is not normally
Eleanor.
what we do. This is not normally what we do in this circle, but I will seek to help you in this regard. From Eleanor, she was your grandmother. One moment, please. Eleanor is, she sends her regards. She is just saying that she is very happy with the way you have turned out, and that everything is well with her, and for you just to continue on in your life and continue to be as happy as you can be, because that is what she wishes for you. I hope that is helpful. Now, are there any other questions?
My great grandmother and all my family are all mediums too.
You know, hello,
Yes.
this is Charlotte. And
Hello,
since-
Charlotte.
Hi, and since you're talking about this, please, maybe you could help me. I lost my husband a few years ago. We've known each other since 1953. So you know how long that is. And we've been together for most of our lives. I'm 84 and he died a few years ago. And I feel so guilty because I expected him to come through and he didn't, and I should have been there more. And I just feel terrible that I wasn't there when he died. And I just didn't want to believe that he was going. I thought he would pull through, and I feel so guilty. And I just want to know how it is with him, and if it's okay, and if he's forgiven me. I want to be forgiven.
Yes, Charlotte, would you give me his name?
His name is Ferdinand. I called him Ferdy.
Yes,
That's
one moment, please. One moment, please. I'm sure he has forgiven you.
He's the best of the best. I love him so much. He saved my life and I couldn't save his.
It wasn't your job to save his life. And so that is what you must remember. You were, at the point in time, you were whatever you were. You did not certainly want him to die and to transition. And as much as you know that that would be a transition just from the earth plane into a life eternal, that is merely different than being in the physical, but life continues. You didn't want him to go from your life. And so you chose to escape by not accepting or believing that thought. And he bears you no ill will or judgment on your behaviors, because while when he was in the physical, he may have wanted you to be with him more. He
Yes.
also recognized that it was very difficult for you to be with him in the condition he was in. And he understood that. And so he did not take offense and was always what you would say, use the word forgiving about your not being able to be there. So he says there was nothing for him to forgive, and that you need to forgive yourself for you. You did the best you could in the circumstance, and that you should not fault yourself or feel guilty as you were. If you could have accepted the fact that he was about to transition on you, it would have been unbearable pain. And it was a way of keeping yourself safe. And he recognizes this. And so his message is, forgive yourself. I love you.
Thank you. I know he's with me. I know he's in the house. I see signs all the time that he's around. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there other questions?
Yes, this is Elizabeth Roncar. I was just wondering about the past lives.
About what?
Past lives.
Past life.
Is it important for us to go back, like to be hypnotized or whatever, back to those lives so that we can improve ourselves as we go on and understand what the correction is that we need to do when we transition? And then
Sometimes it is helpful to explore a past life. Simply for the enlightenment it might give you concerning issues that you are dealing with in this lifetime that you never understood why they were in your life. And there is no need to understand why, but you might see the connection, and this in this way may be able to transcend and let go of some of the issues in your life. You see many people having similar things happen to them, or finding themselves consistently experiencing a type of event in their life. Even though it changes from event to event, it is basically the same event. which may cause hurt or disappointment. And they don't know and understand why this always happens to them. To see perhaps in a past life might help you to realize that your problem, it resides within yourself, not the way you are acting, but the way you are perceiving things around you that cause these issues to reappear constantly in your life. And so it's like you have come into this lifetime to experience and overcome a situation. And you see that situation manifesting over and over and over again in different disguises, in different ways, from different people. But as a result, you still have not gotten beyond what the reason you are here for in this life. You are still experiencing that because you have not yet solved the problem. So you need to look at the way you perceive things. And in the way you perceive things, this means how you judge the situations around you, what is going on, that kind of thing. That this is habitual for yourself, and you need to try to think of things in a different way, to see them differently, and to expect different things of yourself, and to allow yourself to be different in the situation. You have high standards for yourself, and as a result, you make some assumptions about the lives of others and the ways they should act, because you project upon other people your own high standards. And these people are not trying to comply with your high standards. They are just as they are. And as a result, you often become unhappy with the way they are because you are projecting your standards of behavior on them. And they are not subject to your standards. And this comes back to you in the form of sometimes pain and hurt, because you are thinking they are ignoring those standards when it comes to your how they behave with you. And so therefore, you sometimes cause yourself unhappiness and feel that you have been belittled. Do you understand what I am saying? When in fact, there was no intention to do that. It is just the way you interpreted the actions that were happening. So should you look into your past life and see in what ways are you, how it is affecting this current life? The answer to that is yes. If you cannot get over things yourself, if you cannot adjust, perhaps you will find an answer that you seek in understanding a past life. But sometimes certain people come into your life from a past life for a simple purpose. And it is not the overall purpose of your incarnation. And so I do not want you to be sidetracked into thinking a particular thing is a major issue in your life when it is only part of your life. And so you can look into past lives if you wish, but they may or may not be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
I know that is not the most satisfactory answer, but it is the truth.
Well, it's just keep running into the same type of people, and I think that there's a lesson somewhere that I'm just not getting. And
Precisely, that is
and
what
I
I was trying to say.
I know, and it's just, I don't know if it's the path I'm supposed to go down. I don't know. It's just very confusing to me. But for whatever reason lately, everybody I meet, it's like I have this instant connection for whatever reason, and I don't know why. And
You have this instant, I missed the word.
which word? I said I have like instant connections with these
Oh,
people
connection.
who seem like this, like we've had similar life experiences. I want to do something for them because I think that that's what's expected, but I'm not able to figure out what at this point. That's all.
Why do you feel it is your responsibility to do something for them? That is my question to you. It is not your responsibility to do something for them.
Okay.
It is only your responsibility to do something for yourself.
I guess because old habits die hard.
Yes, you are trying to help people, and you have not accepted the fact that you cannot help others. They must help themselves. All you can do is give them a little help, perhaps a little insight, give them an idea, something that might allow them to change their own minds or their own thoughts or their own ways of being. But for the most part, you cannot help anyone to see that. The most you can do is be the best person that you can be as a demonstration of what they can be, and know that they have the ability to be everything that you already are, and that you have the ability to be more than you are currently. So do not try to be the person who helps others, because you cannot do that. And it just, yes, you cannot do that. All you can do is wish others well, pray for them in the sense of know that they can be happy, healthy, whole, and complete in every way. And that they will go on and they will improve their lives on their own without your help or guidance. A little thought here and there, a little encouragement, that's what they need.
Okay. I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions?
Yes, I have
one.
another question. This is David again.
Yes, David.
How are you?
I am all-
I have a question about okay, I never met my real father, and I don't know his name or anything, so I don't know how we go about doing that.
This is not the purpose of this meeting for,
Okay. Fine.
but I understand your question. Since your father is in spirit, we might
No,
be
he's
able-
not.
He doesn't know.
I don't know.
You don't
I never
know.
met him.
He
So,
might be.
He could be, yes, but
yeah.
there is, I cannot help you on this because.
No.
Okay,
Another-
that's
And
fine.
it is not,
I also wanted to ask you about my grandparents, if that's okay.
what is it you wish to know?
Just to know if they're okay on the other side, and if they ever plan on visiting me again, and what they think about me. I'll give you their names.
Thank you, but I can answer that question without finding them, because once you transition to the other side, you have a different viewpoint on life and the way things are. Are they happy on the other side? Yes, they are happy, because all of us who are in spirit live
Okay.
a life of enlightened understanding. And as such, we are all content the way things are. We enjoy the life that we are. There is no such thing as unhappiness when you enter into
That's
Okay.
what my
it.
great grandmother always said when she used to read tea leaves, and I still have all her writing through when she did automatic seances with my mother's son.
That's all I really wanted to know. Like about, I talked to you about my mother earlier, and now my grandparents. And thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
giving me some insight.
Can I please ask you how Karen's doing?
Mm.
I have not seen her in a while. Karen Lumber.
Karen Slember. Oh, yes, she is very fine. And she is
Yeah,
teaching.
she's one of my very good friends. I have not been to the church in a while. I need to go back. I wish I could now, but I can't. I'm definitely doing the healing circle tomorrow.
Yeah,
I went to her house.
We're gonna do the healing circle tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, and Karen is in Florida now.
She is. So is she's doing the healing circle with Karen anymore?
No, she is not doing the healing circle with Terrence. She lives in Florida now.
Okay. Oh, I gotta find a way to get a hold of her then.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
all the information you gave me. That really helped me out.
You're welcome.
Veronica, I have a question for you.
Yes.
How do you decide, how do you choose, or people that come into your life, how do you choose who's going to be on your journey with you? You know, your soulmate, your whomever, you know, the people that come along with you.
You just know.
Yes, well, so you're talking about when you enter into a incarnation.
No, just people who come around you, you know, not necessarily incarnation, but as you go through life and you choose people in your life, how does that, you know?
Well, I believe most people choose by compatibility, that they find people who have thoughts that are similar to themselves and believe things that are similar to themselves, as well as having values that are similar to themselves. That is when people have the most compatibility with others, because they are similar in their own ways and their own thoughts. You would not choose to have a relationship with someone who is always contradicting your point of view because they have a different point of view, unless you are the type of person who likes to argue and debate. And you can do so civilly without causing unhappiness or casting aspersions on the other person, that you can do so in such a way you're just debating ideas, in which case it is the fact that you both like to debate which will cause you to be friends and come along on your journey. That is usually how people choose those people to come along on their journey. Of course, you have chosen your parents when you incarnated, and to a certain extent, you were aware of what siblings you would have and how your relationship might be with those siblings. And they do influence you in your life path. So we cannot eliminate those particular aspects from your decision making about who else you welcome as friends and companions in your life. So it just, people make these choices. And it
Thank you.
is not a difficult decision for most people. They do not say, do I want this person to be in my life? And try to contemplate that. They find themselves naturally gravitating toward an individual. And
But on the other hand, you can have somebody who you might, you know, wonder why, you know, they're with you, you know, that type of thing.
well, because you permitted them to remain with you. If you don't like their presence in your life, it becomes your obligation to yourself to begin to withdraw from them by having less contact with them, by being too busy to talk with them on the phone, by not being there when they want you. And they will soon get annoyed with you and they will leave you alone.
think she might be also asking about karmic relationships that are forced in a sense.
Are you, Bob has said that perhaps you were asking about karmic relationships?
I don't understand that. You mean, I don't understand what that is.
Oh, that's a relationship from a past life that is being brought into your current life because you have something to work out with this person.
Yeah, I think that too, because that goes back to some of what Elizabeth was saying, you know, um, like reliving certain things, certain situations, or people coming in your life and, going out, but in the same manner,
Yes, I do understand. And people do come and go in your life in similar manners, particularly if you have an issue to understand or learn about and to overcome.
So then would you be cheating by going in and doing a reincarnation, trying to figure out, a regression and to see what
No,
you were?
you may use every tool at your disposal to understand what is going on. You can seek psychological counseling or hypnosis to understand why these things keep happening to you. And the insights you learn through these sessions may be exactly what you need to make your life better. You can use all types of counseling and guidance. Perhaps you just need help with a life coach rather than a psychoanalyst, someone who can help guide you to find the right pathway to understand that what you need.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for asking. Are there other questions?
Yes, Ronka. This is Agnes.
Hello, Agnes.
This has been a strange one tonight. I have just this quick question. I would like to check on the health of our president. Just make sure that he's, I don't want to get into his business besides just checking on how his breathing is okay and that he's going to pull through this okay, because we're worried about him.
Yes, he is going to pull through just fine. He is not particularly ill.
Excellent.
It is unfortunate that some individuals have not moved on beyond the first, their understanding of this disease. In the beginning, it tended to be very deadly for older people and those, as they tell you over and over again, with underlying conditions, and if you are over 65, and etc. But now, not as many people are dying of the virus. Very few in number. Most are becoming ill, and with treatment, they overcome the virus. And many of them have overcome the virus on their own without even realizing they had the virus. So the president will be fine. He is well on his way to recovery. How could he not with all his attention?
Thank you.
Are there other questions?
I have one. It may seem totally away from the topic that we're discussing, but in my mind, you started speaking about love, and if you ask a question about Jesus, it's on the same topic. But I've been listening to an Audible book from the Edgar Cayce Foundation called A Search for God. There was a study group that met for years, and so there was one point in the discussion in that group about the time that Jesus was brought before the authorities. And I think Pontius Pilate was one of them, and he was just drugged through the night from authority to authority. And he would just stand there, silent before them as he was being asked, "Are you the Son of God? And is it true you perform miracles? Perform a miracle for me." I understand he's not going to deign to act like a circus animal by performing miracles for anyone. in authority. However, I remember watching at Easter time the stories of his life and death, and I would cry. He never, that it always bothered me that he never said a word. He never, please tell me your interpretation, Ron Carr, of why he stood so silently throughout all of that accusation by so many.
Well, certainly. He knew why he was there, and he knew what the inevitable outcome was. And he knew that whatever he said would not possibly be of service to him, for his outcome was inevitable from his point of view. He had to do what he needed to do. And so there are situations where you can protest, where you can even demonstrate. And people who do not want to believe and do not want to understand simply will not believe you or understand. It will always be a magician's trick, whatever miracle you performed. They don't know how it is done, but it is not believable. You are merely perhaps a diabolical person. And in the time of Rome, when the Roman emperor was considered the ultimate God, if you will, that he had almost the status of God, he was that respected and understood, that to have said that, yes, I am the Son of God and you are the Son of God and we are all sons of God, this would not have been an acceptable answer, while it is the correct answer. And so it is better that he chose to say nothing, or people would not understand what he was saying. And as a result, this is why he gave no protestations and no demonstrations. There was no need to defend himself. He was moving forward in his pathway to the ultimate completion. And it would only be through his resurrection that he could truly demonstrate that he was God. And in truth, even then, he was not believed. Is that clearer for you now?
Yes. Aside from one element that study group added, that is similar to what they were told, and also that it was sort of a model for humans when they're undergoing suffering and trials to not complain about the suffering, but to forbear and be strong. I don't know if you feel that was also part of it or not, but
from a logical point of view, that would be considered an extension of the lesson. In other words, they're drawing from it without. They are taking what they wish would be applicable to their lives, and it is one point of view, but it is not. It's certainly from the point of view of the early society of that point in time when Edgar Cayce was speaking to others. It was understood that people had needed forbearance to get through difficult times in their life. And this was the expected best behavior that anyone could do. However, as more enlightened individuals have come to greater understanding of that which we term metaphysics at this time, that being forbearance and putting up with suffering is not necessary. You do not need to suffer to overcome your karma being lessons that you need to learn. You only need to learn the lesson. And as soon as you've learned the lesson, the suffering is over.
Yes.
And so there isn't a need to suffer.
No, that didn't really jive with me and the Course in Miracles either, which Christ dispels the need for any kind of suffering. Okay, thank you so much for your input.
Yes, but as you have said, the Course in Miracles have not been taught yet. There were people who had not learned many of the other metaphysical truths that have existed, that were even coming forth through other individuals other than Edgar Casey. The reason being, of course, that these people are merely studying Edgar Casey and the truths he revealed. And much of what he was interested in was healing and coming up with healing remedies for people. And this did not necessarily include a total understanding of metaphysics in all ways. Or there were those who went before him and those who came after him who both spoke of it. But being the person that he was, coming to his position the way he did, which slowly evolved, and it is true for many mediums that these things come forth, and they are the instruments by which that which has already been taught is brought forth again for it to be considered. They are the instruments, but they do not know of the other teachings. It's just as you have Abraham, and Abraham, much of the things that Abraham brings forth in his lectures are things that have already been taught by others and are apparent to anyone who has done the study. But Abraham speaks through Esther, and Esther is the servant of Abraham. And as a result, truths are brought forth in a different way through her. And certain individuals will resonate to those who do not resonate to the teachings of other mediums or other people who serve in that way. So it is beneficial that they come through many mediums, many times. It is because it always bears repeating so that new people will hear and understand. And people hear and understand from the individuals that they know the best. And they have empathy, and perhaps the vocabulary is the right words for them to hear in such a way that it brings their enlightenment. Are there other questions? Well, seems like there are no other questions. So therefore, it is time for me to say good night. So I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, I'm back. Okay, is there anything else anybody wants to ask? Okay, well then that's it for the evening. Remember, I love you all, and we look forward to being again together next week. See you then. Bye.
I love you.